The Clipper race is unique. It's the only race that's open to amateurs.
Absolutely alien environment. I don't know where my limit is.
Just remind ourselves that we can do these things. If there's young people out there who suddenly think, gosh, I want to go and try that.
I suppose if I have any fears, it's of seriously hurting myself. I'm not actually worried about dying.
I wanted to do something crazy, and this was just like the perfect kind of opportunity.
What was it like stepping into the unknown?
Well, you see, you're so busy. You're actually focusing on the job in hand. You don't think about it as being unknown. I mean, when it gets tough, you say, well, of course it's tough. If it was easy, someone else would have done it.
A British crew member in the Clipper Round the World yacht race has died after being swept overboard in strong winds.
A bit of shock, to be honest with you, because this isn't the sort of thing we're used to having.
Okay, so it'll just remind me, if somebody distracts me, and then I go to unclip this one, I go, oh, there's something wrong there. Okay, just a little tip. But we have the 3.1 so that you do not have to be unclipped from the boat at any time.
So here I am on the boat I'm actually going to be racing on, which has just been put up in the colours for Zhuhai, which is the city in China that's sponsoring my boat. So this is going to be quite exciting. This boat here now has just come back off a level 3 training exercise, and they've apparently had a very good week. They had a race yesterday just between some of the Clipper in practice, and this boat won. So actually it looks like it's a really well fitted out boat. It's just had a full refit. So it's in great shape. It's just been to sea. It's just come back in this morning, and I'm really looking forward to racing on her for the full Clipper race. But this is Zhuhai, which is the city just to the west of Hong Kong, very near Macau. So if you want to look it up in China, they're the city that's sponsoring this boat, the boat I'm going to be racing on. So I'm going to be able to show you quickly around. The deck of a Clipper 70 is pretty wide open space. Let's just go up to the bow and I'll show you what we've got up here. So we've got our two sails that come up on our two forestays. You've got an outer forestay, which is this one up here, right up the front. So This is our forestay and our bowsprit. The spinnaker comes right out of the bowsprit. This is our forestay for our big Yankee sails, and this is our inner forestay for the stay sail. So we have two sails that come out the front. These lines coming back down here are all our spinnakers. So we have, our halyards. We have 6 halyards on the boat for various different sail hoists. A halyard is a line that pulls sails up. And then as we go back, we've got loads of ropes. And generally when we're sailing, we'll have ropes called sheets, flying, controlling sails in all directions. And the mast, you've got a whole series of ropes on either side that do all sorts of things. So here are your 3 halyards that pull up the sails, control lines for reefing and other bits and pieces, and for hoisting the various sails. And this is the bang that holds the whole boom down. The boom is the bottom part that the main sails up on. And this is where most of the crew sit when we're sailing, controlling the boat. Obviously mooring lines at the moment because we're moored up here in Gosport on the harbour side. And then we've got the grinders. So you're going to get some video, we're going to have some pictures, and often I will be in this position here doing this. Yeah, so you're in this sort of position, really getting power, full press up control on the grinders. And this is the really powerful. And there'll be another person on the other side using, I'll be on those 2. There'll be another person using the other 2 handles on the other side doing the same. And the 4 of us, 2 here and 2 behind, can power up either this winch here on the mainsail or these 2 winches here for the main controls on the either hoisting halyards or controlling the sheets on the Yankee. This is the normal position when you're sailing the boat, not this position, which is nice perhaps when you're going downwind, but when you're going upwind, you're about like that. So cooking on board is a challenge, but it's an interesting challenge and it's doable. Everything in this galley is sort of strapped away, so we've got netting against everything. So all our food is behind netting, and yeah, you've got and then water on this side. We've got basically, these are overflow pipes from our water maker, which is over there. So we make our own water. When you're at sea for 6 weeks, you clearly run out of what are relatively small water tanks, and water you can't survive without 3 days. And with 20 people, say, on board for 6 weeks, you need a lot of water. So we have a water maker, which is run off the generator, and a water maker here. We run the generator, which recharges the batteries. It allows the water maker to be made, that desalinates the seawater, and then that's pumped through, and we replenish the tanks. And then this one here pumps, that's fresh water, and this red one, foot pedal, is salt water. So, and you can see it's a bit dirty, but that's straight out of the marina. So that's salt water and that's fresh water. And we do all our washing up in salt water. We might, if it's a teacup, rinse it with about a drip or 2 of water, fresh water, to finish it off, and then everything's drip dried. Forget tea towels. Tea towels are a waste of time. So this is the accommodation part of the boat, and we've basically got bunks for the crew, 2 bunks above and below on this side, on the outside of the boat, and then down next you've got 4 bunks, 2 in, 2 out, and then behind that you've got the skipper's quarters, which is next to the nav station. It's not the most comfortable of positions, but actually on my level 4 I was doing 2-hour stints of sleep reasonably regular. I had one period I think I did 36 hours with only 2 hours sleep because of other things that were going on the boat, but generally I'm getting 4 or 5 hours sleep in these conditions, bouncing up and down, and I can sleep pretty much anywhere. So coming out of my bed here, we've got the engine room. Of course the engine's nice and quiet really, isn't it? So in the middle of the night, if we need the engine, we don't ever put the engine on, by the way, during the race, because you're disqualified if you put the engine on, unless you're allowed to, because there are certain parts of the race where they sort of allow you to because of various conditions. But we do have the generator, and the generator's in here as well. So moving into the engine room, here you've got our basic truck or tractor engine. It is a very basic diesel engine, very powerful, but it's very basic because they don't go wrong. They're not particularly fancy, but they just are there when we need them. So this is the basic engine, this is the generator. The generator is used at sea whenever we need to either make water or make electricity, so we get 240 volts when we need it. We run it for maybe an hour or 2 a day, just to be able to recharge the batteries, because the batteries power everything on this boat, or to make water. Clearly we need water. So this is probably as important as the engine itself, and this is the engine space. No toilet seats, too dangerous to have a toilet seat. You bounce up and down too much, you can hurt yourself. There's no shower. We basically wash ourselves with wet wipes through the 6 weeks we're at sea, and that's our toilet. We have 2 toilets like that. Okay.
No, the green one.
Same for the red one, the blue one. The same for the blue one.
Nigel,
Hi.
you want to explain what your job is?
Yeah, I'm a training skipper for Clipper race, and I've been doing that for about 6 years now on a freelance basis.
How are you finding it?
Absolutely fantastic, best job in the world.
Why is that?
I get to meet so many diverse people. I get to train them and have a part in their whole story, which is an unbelievable privilege.
That's called an admiral stopper boat. Stop it going back under through the track. We're actually just prepping the boat. Obviously we motor out from the harbour here, so the sails are all in the right position so that when we're out at sea we can raise the sails without having to do everything. So everything's ready to just raise the sails when we're out at sea. So you're not going to see the sails coming up while we're here on the dock side. That's for when we're out of Gosport Marina here. Out in the Solent, we'll be raising the sails one by one. We'll obviously start with the head sail. Start with the main sail. So this is the main sail here on the boom. So we raise that first. We then raise the full sails. We've got two full sails on this one. One called a Yankee because of its shape, to allow ocean waves to go underneath the wave without taking into the wave. And then inside the outer Yankee full sail, we've got what's called the stay sail, which is an inner sail on the inner fore shroud.
Keep ease in. Keep ease in.
You gain an incredibly powerful and intense relationship with the people you're sailing with. Personal things come out. You've got time with each other, intense time with each other, both working together, but also, relaxing, and sleeping together. You've seen the sleeping quarters. They're pretty intimate. There's no privacy. There's no toilet seats, there's no privacy at all. A lot of intimate things came out and a lot of personal things that, are very private are shared on the boat. That means you get that depth of relationship that probably will last a long time. And I think, what I've heard from previous Clipper races, you make friends for life and some intimate relationships for life. And, it is some great relationship and a lot of marriages, a lot of permanent relationships have been set up on Clipper races. So leg one is the start of the race, the 1st of September. They leave St Catherine's Dock in Southampton and sail all the way down to Punta de Esta, which is the boat we've just done level 4 and who is sponsoring that particular boat. Leg 2 goes across, basically straight across, is called the sleigh ride back to Cape Town, and Nick has done that I don't know how many times, but probably holds the world record for it. It's probably the leg that Nick's going to play his Joker on. We're going to play our Joker on because he's so experienced in doing that. Knows the waters both from South America back to Cape Town a lot. I then join it in Cape Town, which is typically leg 3, which is from Cape Town round the Roaring Forties, round Antarctica, round to Australia in Perth. Leg 4 runs from Perth around the south of Australia up to northeast Australia, which is Early Beach in the Whitsunday Islands. 5 runs from the Whitsunday Islands and northeast Australia up through Southeast Asia to China into Zhuhai, which is the sponsor city for my boat. I join it again in Zhuhai. We then go leg 6, which goes from Zhuhai up to Guangdong in the north of China, around Japan and across to Seattle. Then I'm doing leg 7, which is from Seattle right the way down the west coast of the USA, round Mexico, through the Panama Canal, through the Caribbean, and up to probably New York, or at least eastern seaboard of the USA. And then leg 8 is basically back to the UK. Just making sure we're learning which bits of rope are used for what sheets and what jobs at the moment. So it's a bit of an early setup. It's the first time we've actually rigged this boat up. So this crew is the first time on a 70 yacht. It's the first time we've come together as a crew, and this is the first time we're prepping the boat. So things may look a little bit frantic and a little bit confused at the moment. That's because we're all learning as we go. All part of the exercise. But by the time we start going around the world, we'll all be very proficient at this, and we'll be doing it in seconds rather than, obviously at the moment, lots of minutes.
Clipper's got quite a few kind of female skippers and mates, so it's quite good. Like, there's quite a lot of girls around, which is really nice. It was we had a rare sort of moment the other week where it was me and a female skipper. It was 2 females. That was fantastic. So
Yeah, and
I do
actually
love that.
the Clipper race last year, of course, last time round at least, 17-18, was won by a lady, wasn't it?
Yep.
So the skipper on the winning Clipper yacht last time round was a woman. So
girl
fantastic.
power.
Unfortunately, this year they've selected 12 very capable skippers, but all of them,
no,
11
no
skippers.
females applied to be
No,
skippers.
no females applied.
No females applied to be skippers.
Do you know why?
Don't know.
No.
We've got additional qualified people this year.
Yeah.
Some of them are females,
Yeah.
but no idea.
No skippers.
No idea.
Feel any pressure to keep up with the dudes, or do you find it just as easy as them?
No, it's just the same job. It's it's exactly the same job. We all do the same. We don't sailing isn't really a gendered sport.
No.
Like it used to be. Used to be very manly sport. Now it's just kind of, if you can do it, you can do it. If you know what you're talking about, you know what you're talking about.
This is going to be the low side. Man overboard drill on the dock side, just to show you, to practice how we get a tethered man overboard. So somebody who's tied onto the boat, over the side of the board, how do we get them back on board? Because it's not straightforward. So that's what we're going to do. We're using Lisa, who is our dummy, who we have on board, and she goes for a swim almost on a daily basis. And you can see Lisa there. So we're just getting towards the end of the prep. We've all come through an interesting learning experience this morning, how to rig a Clipper 70. We've all done it on the 68th, and we've all done it on our level 1s and levels 2s, but this is the first time this crew's got together, the first time we've been on this boat, so we've all gone and sort of learned a little bit more about how we rig a Clipper 70.
Checking tide times for today here in Portsmouth, and this is our trainee crew all learning how to do the log, and Lizzie's there in putting in the first log of the day, which is basically the weather forecast.
We're losing the fore guy. We're losing the starboard fore guy. It's in the water.
We haven't managed to do our at night-time man overboard drills, so we're just staying here to see if we can wait for the sun to set, and you can see it behind me hopefully, and then we're going to do a man overboard drill at night, which will be quite fun. I doubt I'll be able to film it, but it will be quite fun to see. And then we're going to get an anchor up tonight prior to our first trial race, which is going to be a race from here at the Isle of Wight, just off Embridge, down to the Normandy Beach, across to the Channel Islands, back up to Portlandville, and then we're doing another race from Portlandville back to Gosport. It's now 10 o'clock at night, and I've just come off my shift. Probably a bit red, this camera at the moment, because I'm under a red light. We can only use the red lights at night, because red lights don't blind you and take away your night vision. We've done a hoist, we've done a man overboard, we've done hoist all the sails, we've got some pretty good sailing on, and we've done some other bits and pieces. We towed the boat, and we've just been doing the emergency tiller method of steering the boat. Today I'm doing the navigation for the boat and keeping the log
That's a very important job, and so here in the nav station we are absolutely tranching the rest of the field. We are way ahead of the rest of the field. We seem to have predicted the wind, got the angles right, and sailing fast. So we're going very well, and as predicted, Nick is an extraordinary skipper, as is Geronimo, who is actually skipper on this boat. It's been a fantastic race. We are going to beat the field by a considerable margin, and we're sailing really well.
What actually got you into sailing?
I started when I was a teenager, doing sort of canoeing and learning to be on the water. I've always loved water. And as a teenager, I started sailing. In fact, I got in about the age of 8 or 9. One of my best friends at infant school, junior school, his father was my GP, my doctor, and he was my best friend. And he made a little dinghy tub yacht in Poole Harbour. And I remember the day when Andrew, my friend, basically said, my dad's going out on his new boat, he's just finished building it, and literally he built it out of a kit. Would you like to come? And I remember going out on that boat in Poole Harbour, and it was quite windy, and we leant over a long, long, long way. We were almost capsized. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is really scary, but also really fun. And that really excited me at the time.
Was Clipper always in the back of your mind?
No. So I was aware that there was this around the world race called Clipper, but I didn't really think anything of it. And I sort of vaguely realised it was for amateurs, but I didn't really understand it. And you know, I went on with my life. Magdalena, my wife, then saw the end and the final leg coming into Liverpool and started watching it and got quite interested. I was too busy. And she said, do you realise all these sailors, apart from the skippers, are amateurs? And that they're actually, you could do this, Don. I said, really? So I then started watching a few of the previous series legs and realised, actually, this is quite exciting. This is quite interesting. And so, Magdalena then said to me, why don't you have a go? And I thought, really? Do you really think I could have a go? Thinking that she would be so negative towards it. How dare you go away and leave me for so long? But no, she was quite positive towards the idea. And so I signed up pretty fast.
Well, I'm Ragnar McQueen. I am Don's wife. We moved in here just over a year ago because I've always wanted to be in the countryside. I think I was a bit aware of who Don was and how he was when we got married. And he will always be extremely passionate about things. He will always be busy. He will always find interesting things to do. Even if I have to say, diving and sailing are definitely not hobbies that I can join in with, because neither of those appeal to me at all. But that's his passion. My passion is the garden and growing, and so I understand his passion, and we allow each other to enjoy each other's passions. But we take interest in them, but even if we don't do them together. He will do his best. He is very sensible. He's very well prepared. He's fit and able. Accidents happen, but there's no point worrying about them. But you have to live life. It's not the risk that bothers me. I think at the moment I'm happy for him to do it. I'm supporting him. But I know once he's away, obviously. There are going to be family issues and more demands on me, and that's probably occasionally I will send him maybe not such a nice word, but that's life. when Don is asked to do something and he finds it interesting, he almost says yes because it's so interesting and he wants to try that or explore that or help that person or whatever it is. You know, that's what makes him happy. And
What matters.
that's what matters.
I'm Cameron Queen, so I'm Don's son, and today we are in the garden preparing for some pathways, digging up some land, and yeah, just making the most of the good weather really.
The dangers of it. I mean, it's a really dangerous sport. I mean, it's the same as scuba diving, but still, sailing, you have a team there, something goes wrong, it's a very dangerous thing. How do you feel about that?
I mean, that's part of it really, isn't it? Part of the adrenaline, is that something could go wrong. If you were there and you knew it would all go smoothly and nothing would go wrong, there wouldn't be so much, you know, adrenaline pumping and energy, everyone feeling that fear. I think maybe would push them a bit more as well. So I think it's a good thing. It's obviously a bad thing as well because people lose their lives, but there's danger in any sport really. So
Do you have faith in your dad then?
yeah, I think if we wind up the other crew members more than, you know, have problems with the sea.
Do you know why we're here?
My dad.
Yeah, it's the dad's project. He's doing the Clipper race. Yeah, he's going around the world. He's doing 3 separate races. How do you feel about that?
Oh yeah, happy for him, but quite sad at the same time.
Are you sad?
Because he'll be leaving for like ages.
You know how they feel. You have a guess of how they feel.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get a feel for how you felt about that. How you feel when your younger son, who isn't all there, and he's really missing you. How would that make you feel?
I think now actually going away for such a long period of time with Sam, my younger son, who's 18, and who has some language difficulties, so has a statement of special educational needs. I think he will miss me a lot when I'm away. I think Taron probably less so because he's an independent young man now, 21. My wife is, well, you can ask her what exactly she thinks of me doing this and how much she's going to miss me. I will miss her terribly. She doesn't believe it for 1 minute because she thinks my mind is 100% on, what I'm doing and sailing, and that I won't miss her at all. Well, that's far, far from the truth. I'll miss her enormously.
Would you say that what you're doing is influencing your kids at any point?
To be honest, I don't know. I imagine it is. I mean, it's always difficult to know how you influence your children. I mean, clearly, the nature-nurture argument. I mean, I don't think it's a secret. Both of my boys are adopted. So my wife and I have often thought about the nature-nurture argument as to how much of their character is nature from their genes, which obviously we've had no influence over, and how much of their character and actions are from the nurture and experience of having lived with us for their lives. And aspects of their experience and the things they do and the way their attitudes to things that are most definitely nurture. But there's also clearly things, you are a result, we as human beings are a result of the sum of our experiences as well as our genes. And the experiences they've had have been obviously the personal ones they've gone through, but also seeing their parents do weird, wonderful things, which I imagine includes, sailing around the world on Clipper.
Do you think you're going to learn anything new about yourself?
Yeah, I hope I'm going to learn lots new about myself. I've got through most of my life always self-analysing, and I think I know my strengths and weaknesses reasonably well. It's testing those. Sometimes it's very difficult, You're aware of some of your weaknesses or some of your idiosyncrasies that you can see annoy other people, or am I able to control those idiosyncrasies, those bits of me that I don't really like, when I'm really tired, really stressed, and under pressure in a confined environment. And I think I'd like to be able to say I will be able to, but others around me might say that there's no chance and that I will let myself down, but we'll wait and see. So that would be an interesting learning experience, I think.
Any fears?
I suppose if I have any fears, it's of seriously hurting myself. I'm not actually worried about dying, really. I mean, if I've gone, I've gone. I mean, I'm really sanguine about that. Actually, I'm more worried, if there is anything, about badly hurting myself. Losing a limb, for example, losing a hand, breaking a back, you know, serious life-changing injuries is probably the only thing I really fear. You know, I've had a fantastic life. I've done everything I want to do, and if I die on Clipper, I'll have died doing something I absolutely love.
You know, we have one life, and we want to do the things that really excite us and challenge us to make a very fulfilled life.